Hey everybody, welcome back to Klik TV Online. It's your host, Tech Barbie, and today I am here with Dean Waye, who is a copywriter as well as the many other hats he wears. So I know that you produced a lot of webinars, and even podcasts as well for clients. And you have strong opinions about how companies should make them. What do you think are better? The interview style ones, I guess kind of like what we're doing right now, or the ones with presentation? What do you think works better?
The advantage of the interview style ones is that as far as labor and everything else you can think of is concerned, they are cheap to produce. Right? That you can produce a lot of them, you can produce them very quickly. And but they are, in almost the strictest definition, a marketing product. But by that I mean they don't get anyone to make a decision and make a purchase for the most part, or book a discovery call or, call sales or whatever. They build awareness, and that's their main job. And they're good at that. But, sales will look at those kind of, the head of sales will look at those kind of webinars and say, like, these are doing really nothing for us. Like, they don't put a single one of my guys into a meeting kind of thing. The presentation style ones, if you're going to do them right and you know how to get and keep an audience's attention all the way through until they get to the end and they see the call to action and they think, yeah, someone like me would do something like that. Someone like me, it would make sense. Or they think my manager's going to want to talk to these guys. My manager's going to want to meet with this company. To get to there, that's a much more, labor-wise, it's much more expensive because it's much more tightly choreographed and you're always worrying about losing the audience's attention. And it has to be sort of structured, but it can't be structured in a way that gets people bored. So it's harder to do really well, but it can and does drive sales. Yeah.
No, I totally understand that.
I mostly work with tech companies. Don't be there. I didn't mean to do that. But the problem for a lot of companies, especially companies who make or sell something complicated, is that there will be sales, there will be marketing, and then there's some senior geek. And I was a software developer for a long time and software project manager. I'm okay with that. These are my people.
Yeah.
But there's a senior geek, and that's the person who's going to be doing the presenting in a presentation style webinar. And the first thing that goes through that person's head is, this is not my job. And they don't like being in front of audiences. There are people who hate being in front of audiences. Then there's a whole extra layer of hate for being in front of an audience you can't even see or get feedback.
Yeah, and you're just talking to the void.
They're not comfortable on camera. They're talking to a void very much. That's exactly the right phrase. Right? And so that makes it even more sort of quote unquote expensive to do the presentation style ones. But the companies who really lean into that can really drive sales as opposed to just building awareness. But, again, cheap and easy to produce, and you can make a lot of them and build awareness, or you can do a lot fewer of them. They take a lot more work, but they can actually move the needle on meetings booked, demos booked, that kind of stuff. So yeah, very strong opinion. If you're in sales and your marketing department is only doing interview style, build awareness kind of stuff, that's not going to help you that much in the long.
Yeah, we've been doing more webinars in these last few months, that we've been doing more of a presentation style. And I think that is, I think that's been working well for us. I'm glad that I have this program to interview people, but I agree. I think for a webinar format, when you're really trying to drive a lot more people to come to your business, getting a really interesting presentation where you can really see how that business could help you with real data and real information, I think that's definitely valuable. So I have one last.
One more thing, actually, around the webinars then, since you guys are doing more presentation style one. The single, by far, it's 95% of the reason why anyone will register and then attend that kind of webinar. The single most important factor is the title, right? Nobody, for the most part, nobody in the audience knows any of the people in the webinar. Right. They don't even know the company very well. And even if they do, they don't have a strong affinity or relationship with. They are simply there for the topic and the content that's going to come off the topic. So spend as much time as you can making the most interesting, compelling title you can make. And if there's ever any doubt, don't try to take your topic and then make it interesting. Find out what the audience is interested in and then make that your topic. Way easier to start on the other end or work backwards than to trying to like sexy up, something that you're doing because you really want to have a talk about it. That's not what it's like. Work your stuff into that if you want, but the main sort of topic or theme has to be what the audience wants to hear about.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
Work for it. You can't rescue a great webinar with a terrible title, but if you've got a great title, it gives you a lot of runway for messing up in the webinar, and people will
because there are.
And you get to the Q&A. Once you get to the Q&A, their attention is going to crater. That's inevitable, no matter what. But yeah, that's how you do that. Topic, title, theme, like really dwell on that a long time and make it like fast.
Yeah, something that really draws people in because, once you get them there, that, you can talk about and you can do all your things that you know and you want. But, the first thing to get them there is, like you said, to have that really, compelling title that just makes you be like, oh, I kind of want to know more about what that's going to be like, All right. Well,
you're right.
I'm going to end this today with one final question. If you could give your past self from the beginning of your career one piece of advice, what would it be?
So I started as a computer programmer, like software developer, and I started as a copywriter, both in the same year at age 14.
At age 14?
Yeah. My parents had a couple of little businesses, so my first ever clients really was writing for my parents' business.
Wow.
And they had a little grocery store and gas station, those kind of things you'd have in a small town. And going back, probably there's really no need to ask permission to move forward on stuff. We think, oh, I shouldn't do that, or I might get rejected on that, or someone's going to slap my wrist on that kind of stuff. There's nobody there to push back or slap your wrist. Nobody's paying attention. They're only interested in themselves. And that's a good thing. There's nobody there saying, I don't know who I have to stop from making progress, but I'm going to wait here. And then when they show up, I'll know them. There's no such person. You don't need to ask permission. You can just start. I think I was talking to one of my clients yesterday. They do a lot of work for motivational speakers, and we ended up talking about a longtime motivational speaker called Les Brown. And Les Brown, probably his most famous quote is, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to become great. Right? You don't need permission to get started. You can just go.
Yeah.
There's not even a starting line. That's been removed. You can just go. So yeah, if I was going to talk to young Dean, I would say dude, just you can start. Just do what you want. Call who you want. Email who you want.
Yeah.
What?
That's a good piece of advice. I think a lot of people can even just, myself included, can find myself, not wanting to start until I have it all figured out and until I'm ready. But, when will we ever be ready to really take that risk? Sometimes, like you said, you kind of have to just start and you'll just figure it out throughout the journey.
I recently talked to an HR director. She's a fractional HR director. So her business is going into companies, seasonal companies, who have to do a whole bunch of hiring at certain points of the year. So interviewing and hiring, just tons of people. Then she moves on to the next company because their season's starting. And so, and that's her whole business. She specializes not even in HR, but just in hiring. And she says the biggest single difference between when you write a job post, a job and you list the requirements for the job. Let's say there are 10 requirements. She says the single biggest difference, she was generalizing, obviously, and there's lots of, this and that, whatever. But the biggest difference between men and women, even today, is that we'll list 10 job requirements. A guy will look at those and he sees 5 or 6 that he's good on. He says, I'm going to apply for this. I can do this. Whereas a woman will look at all 10. She'll find one that she doesn't have down stone cold expert. She's like, they're looking for someone more qualified.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true. No, it's absolutely
permission, but she thinks she does.
Yeah. And I saw like an interview or a video or something that was like that, where it was like a coding class or club for young boys and girls. And, the boys were just, doing their thing, trying away. And they go up to this one little girl and she has like nothing on her screen. And they were like, what's going on? And every time that she would make a mistake, she would just delete the whole thing. And she was like, well, if it's not right, I'd rather just have nothing than do it wrong. And it's so interesting how that's so ingrained even from a young age, that we have to have it all together and be 100% ready for us to even leave that like starting line.
Yeah.
When really no one has it 100% together. Yeah. They just figure it out as they go along.
One of the
get better
early lessons you learn as any kind of writer is the concept of the, I don't know, can we swear on this podcast?
Maybe not.
Let's call it the crappy first draft.
Okay, that's good.
You must write the crappy first draft.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect from the go. It won't be. Your job, step one, is to write the crappy first draft and then go back and fix it.
Yeah.
Don't think that it needs to be good like as you're writing it the first time.
True.
And once you understand that it's the crappy first draft, here's an even like more concentrated example of that. If you're writing a blog post or an article or, whatever, anything on anywhere, once you're done writing it, go back to the first paragraph and delete it. Doesn't matter what it is. Delete the first paragraph. This is called the second paragraph paradox. And for whatever reason, if you go back and you delete the first paragraph so that what used to be the second paragraph is now the first, the writing is automatically tighter. There's more velocity. The reader gets hooked in right away. And the way I explain it to people is like this. Every day you experience this, you just don't think that it applies to your writing or whatever other kind of work you're doing. Is that you get it and you go to take a shower, right? You're getting ready for work and then you take a shower. You turn on the water. You don't step in right away because the water that's right in the pipes right now is room temperature or colder. And the hot water needs to push all of that stuff out through the shower head and down the drain. And then you step in. When you start writing, you're full of that room temperature cold water and it needs to be pushed out. So you write your crappy first draft and then, or you write your first paragraph. That's kind of like the room temperature water from a shower. And then once you delete that, the reader is right into the hot water in the shower without having to wait.
Nice.
No way around it. Nobody's shower is hot right in the first second they turn it on.
No. Not unless, I don't know, maybe you're super wealthy and you've somehow figured out a way to bypass that. And
you got someone running hot water the whole time just so that you can do it the whole time.
You just have no cold water in your house.
Yes.
It's just like only hot.
Yeah, too.
That would be the only way. But yeah, no, it's
apartment. It's true. My bathroom was right next to the apartment building's hot water heater and furnace. And so like it was literally the water in the pipes was warm all the time and I had to run it to get cold water.
Oh gosh. What a
it was a cheap
interesting dynamic. Well, Dean, I want to say thank you so much for giving me some of your time today, answering my questions. I'm so happy to have you on.
Happy to be here.
Well, until next time, thank you for watching Klik TV Online. Yeah.